There's been a ton going on the internet the past couple weeks, and today we are here to recap everything that went trending for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. We're going to get started right away, guys. 10-second intro. I love to see that. So, of course, I'm sure that you guys have seen this by now. Dexerto posted this. Do I think it's natural? Do I care? Also, no. And bodybuilder Greg Doucette, not a clue who that is, but whoever he is, he believes David Dobrik used PEDs to achieve his physique. So, David Dobrik, of course, we all know came out of nowhere just looking like this. And I was one of the people who honestly thought that it was photoshopped because of just, I don't know what it is about the lighting. It looks like you took off his head from another picture and just plopped it onto some bodybuilder. Now, if I had to assume, it's a little bit too perfect, but it's always possible to achieve something like this. You need to have really good genetics, and you have to be like absolutely perfect with your diet, with your working out, like everything when it comes to that, right? Like it's my point being it's possible, but I unfortunately also do not think that that is natural. Someone with a lot of free time and money get in shape after 2 years, it's not hard. I mean, it's always very difficult, especially when you get into shape like that, but it's true. He has, I would imagine he's well off, right? David Dobrik, he has a lot of time, money. That's everything that you need to in order to achieve some sort of physique like this, right? Of course, he's on steroids. You don't get a physique like that without him. It's possible. It's possible, but again, like, he is most likely using PEDs, right? Like, he's having the best body ever right now. But let's move on over to another topic over here, okay? Everyone is free to have an opinion. This is mine, and this is about the Nintendo Switch 2. When this thing got revealed, there was a lot to talk about it. So, my take on the Switch 2 graphics debate. The obsession with ultra-realistic graphics and overpowering specs is causing gamers to skip on great games, compelling stories, and thoughtful art direction, all for minor details like realistic faces, hair, shadows, reflections. Nintendo stopped the spec race back in the Nintendo 64 era, focusing on their efforts on innovation, affordability, and software. It's confusing for me how specs are still the main focus for many. Now, I am somebody who deeply loves great graphics in video games. I love the art style. There are so many games that I play where I walk around and I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. Look what the team did here. This looks amazing. But I also find that same like beauty in the art style for more simple games like Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't make me go, wow, but there are games where you just look at it and you're like, okay, this is beautiful really in its own way. I always think that gameplay should be first. If you're trying to tell a story, that should come first, and the just focusing on specs for your new console should be a little bit on the back burner. But the problem with Nintendo is they have made, and in my opinion, unless you're playing like far away on a TV, the fact that the Switch, and I don't know if the Switch 2 is going to make a change to this, the fact that the Switch runs at 30 frames a second is, and I know it's an overused term, but this is literally unplayable to me. I cannot play any sort of like well-capable game on the Switch because it runs at 30 FPS. They need to focus on that, and I don't care if they don't focus on like creating the ultra-realistic graphics. Just make sure the game actually functions, the game actually runs. But let's take a look at what a couple people had to say about this, okay? Zio had this to say: as a lover of indie or low-budget games, I agree. But also, when your own app store lags and your own main IP games drops to 15 frames per second, it's a problem. They don't need all the 4K 500 FPS buzzword BS, but they do need to deliver quality that respects today's standard, 1080p, 60 FPS minimum. I thought that was extremely well said. I want to know what the replies were over here, okay? I won't disagree on your statement. An upgrade was due and required without a margin of doubt. Developers can only do so much with what they are presented with. 100% agree. I also agree that ultra-realistic graphics and OP spec mindset that people believe all things need is a silly obsession. Gameplay and story over graphics every time for me personally. Agreed. Like I said, there needs to be a balance with these types of things, and if the game's fun at the end of the day, I personally couldn't care less about the art style, but that doesn't change the fact that like if a game works really hard to present a great art style of making like the realistic hair and stuff like that, I really appreciate that. I think it's beautiful, but the gameplay and the story matters more than anything. Let's take a look at what a user by the name of Scott said. 100% agree with this. I choose a Nintendo console every time for the awesome games. In fact, I did own a Switch, and it will own a Switch too, but not PS5 and Xbox. Nothing against them. Just have everything I want on the Switch, except FF7R, not sure what that is, which hopefully will be on the Switch too. But regardless, yeah, it depends what kind of games you like, right? Nintendo offers a wide variety of exclusive games that you can't find anywhere. Nintendo has that like family or single player experience. If that's something you love, then there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I personally am only going to get a Switch for Smash Bros. If they do end up porting or making a new Smash Bros. But it's not for me. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Let's continue on. Incorrect. They stopped the graphics obsession after GameCube. It was actually the second most powerful system behind Xbox, but I agree with the sentiment. What? Are you telling me that the GameCube was the second most powerful system behind Xbox? There's no chance. I wonder how old that stat is. I do not believe that, man. That's crazy. I know the GameCube was very, very powerful and had a lot going for it. My favorite thing about the GameCube is you could chuck that thing down a set of stairs and it would be perfectly fine. The GameCube was a great system, dude. But let's continue on to another topic. I have to say, this is a very effective poster, and now it is the Captain America Brave New World movie poster. I'm very excited for this personally. I'm very, very excited. It seems like in February 14th, I didn't know that was coming. That's when it was coming out. But it's getting me a little hyped up because something that I loved from the MCU was the Hulk. I loved the Hulk in like Ragnarok. I loved the Hulk in the first Avengers movie. I loved the Hulk when the Hulk was actually menacing, and I hate Professor Hulk to my core. So to have another Hulk like this, hopefully, is going to do it justice. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good movie in my opinion, but we all know how Marvel's been lately. Let's continue on. Literally makes no sense how Falcon fights Red Hulk. I'm sure they'll figure it out, dude. Like, I maybe we can say that once the movie's out. And by the way, over on the Clenema Channel, we are going to be having a review over to that movie. And by the way, while we're talking about that, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, guys. If you want to check out any other content we make gaming content, MMA content, movie, show, TV, anime review content. You can check all of those links out in the pinned comment, not the pinned comment, description down below, excuse me. We have the link tree and the actual link over to those channels. Thank you very much for listening. Let's continue on to what Brandon S. had to say about it. Lol, bro, no. Falcon can't beat the Hulk, and the vibranium shield can take the punch, but Falcon's arm would become jello. Yeah, but I'm not going to look too deep into it, to be honest with you. It's a superhero movie, and I'm going to enjoy the superhero movie. Just give me some good, fancy CGI fight scenes, okay? This poster shows everything that is wrong with the marketing of this film. The hero has his back turned. The poster clearly shows Ford's face. It's no longer a Captain America film. It's a Harrison Ford Red Hulk film. That is very, very interesting. And there was a reply over to this. There are many ones, just this one, but that's not the main movie poster. That's not the main movie poster to it, and that's actually really interesting. I never thought about that. I wonder if people are going to go, like, I'm personally getting hyped up for it because I want to see Hulk. I want to see Red Hulk. I want to see a cool fight scene with the Hulk screaming, smashing stuff. I like Sam as Captain America, but it's not enough to make me go, yes, let's go. I can't wait to go see this movie. The fact that the Hulk's there kind of does make me do that. Very interesting point. I have to agree with it, to be honest with you, but hopefully it all works out. Let's continue on. And I did see this one. Cenat celebrates his girlfriend's birthday. A lot of people really, really dogging on him for this. Oh my God, that's loud. Sorry about that, everybody. Look how happy he is. And a lot of people are just saying that the girl's using him. Of course, we can never know for sure, but it's a big problem with a lot of really big streamers today. You have to be really careful about the partner you choose. You have replies over like this, villain arc loading. Hope it all works out for him. I hope so as well. I hope he finds nothing but happiness. I can tell she doesn't respect him because she's touching his face. That's a sign of disrespect. I get where she's coming from, but I think that varies from relationship to relationship, man. Because I could see it. Like, she's like, oh my, I don't want to say, like, property is not the right word, but he's like, oh yeah, this is my man. Like, it is a little bit dominant, but we also could be looking way too closely into that. I think, again, it varies from person to person. There are a lot of relationships that are literally just touchy-feely, and then people touch each other's faces. Like, I wouldn't look too deep into that one personally, but she could be right about that. Regardless, let's continue on to pop base. Elon Musk says he's looking to bring Vine back. I personally wouldn't get too hyped up about this because I like TikTok way more than I like Vine. I didn't like Vine back in the day. I was I was growing up when Vine became like super, super popular. I never really understood it. I thought there were a lot of really stupid jokes, and a lot of people wouldn't laugh at the same crap today unless they're like living in the past or something like that. I just never found it funny. This does not hype me up personally, but I know that the world, a good chunk of the world would be excited to see Vine come back. Girl, we moved on already. Just go get TikTok. Fair enough. I like TikTok. Give me my TikTok. We love to see TikTok. Let's continue on over to another reply. We don't want the 6-second videos again. You know, with the rate that everybody's attention spans are flying to, maybe 6-second videos will be the best thing in the entire world, but I understand that. Like, yeah, I like the range that TikTok has personally. I was never on Vine, but we already have the ability to post text, images, video, audio, and video spaces right here on X. I'm not sure why we need another platform when X already does it all. It's interesting because I don't know at what point you're going to be watching this video, but X is coming up with a video tab similar to TikTok's already, where it's like, I know it already has the video tab, but you get the point. It's going to actually start diving into literally everything. Are we going to have stories soon? I have a funny feeling that this platform is going to become even grander than it already is. Like, this app's been, in my opinion, I've been enjoying it so far, and I know it's a very, very touchy thing to say. Don't look into that too much. Don't go hating on me for that, but I really like the way that the reply boost and stuff is like that, and I like the explore page. Like, there's a lot that I am enjoying over on X right now, but let's continue on to a user by the name of Raven. Why does this generation seem to be so against having kids? This one got quite a little bit of attention, and it's probably a combination of people growing up and not necessarily maturing. Priorities are shifting in the sense of, like, people are kind of being conditioned to not want kids, and on top of that, it is insanely expensive. I know, at least in the West, I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world. I know, like, not there's no really area that's completely thriving right now, but it's also very difficult to make a decision like that when it's an incredibly expensive thing. Like, I have one daughter, and I couldn't even have imagined how expensive it could have been right off from the get-go. A lot of us were accidents, don't want to continue that trend, can't afford ourselves, don't want to bring life into the world to experience our same crappy childhood, can't afford buying a house, rent is 50% of income, food is $150 per person, depression is at an all-time high, wages stay low. Yeah. Yeah, and I do think that the right thing to do, and I think that people should still be encouraged to have kids. Like, of course, if you really are against it and never want to have a kid, then yeah, that's fine, but I wouldn't, like, it really is the most fulfilling thing that you could possibly do, even if it hurts you a little in the financial side of things. I can't wait to have more kids, man. I know it's going to be difficult to have more kids, but we're already talking about having another one, my wife and I. So let's continue on to another reply. It could be due to shifting priorities, career, personal freedom, or concerns about the world's future. Everyone's path is different. Yeah, it's true. I don't get the one of, like, concerns about the world's future. Just have your kid and raise them right. Shield them from the evils of the world, as difficult that would be, but I don't know. I feel like everybody's just making all the excuses as possible to not actually have kids. But it's also like more and more people are becoming less less dateable in the market, I will say, from both men and women's standpoint. So people are waiting longer to actually settle down. A lot of people are actually settling with partners in their 30s or so. Then they might not necessarily be able to have kids, either that, or they're just not with the right person. They don't build that connection. They don't want to actually reproduce together. Like, there is so much that's been backwards in the world, and it's causing priorities to change, and people don't necessarily know or even notice, but they're okay with just walking through life that way personally. But let's continue on to another reply over to that. It could be due to shifting priorities, career, personal freedom, or concerns about the world's future. Everyone's path is different, and I already read that. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm not entirely sure, but I think some people have such a hard time dating that they kind of given up on the idea. Some people believe that the world is such a terrible place that their kids would only suffer, and others believe having kids is a burden on them and their lives. This is one of the opinions that's kind of being conditioned on young people now, which is insane and inaccurate, okay? But this one is actually, honestly, I think it's kind of true. A lot of people are giving up. How many times have we talked about, like, men going their own way, and women are like, you know, like, men ain't shit. I don't know how else to say that. Like, that's a common saying you hear. People hate each other. It's just, the dating world is so difficult to navigate now. Have you looked at the cost of everything? People can't even afford to look at themselves or look after themselves, never mind a huge responsibility of having kids nowadays. This is completely true as well. Like, again, I had my first kid, and it is so unbelievably expensive. It's crazy. I'm thankful that I had, like, parents on both of our sides of the family to help, like, buy clothes and things like that before she got here. For the second one, we're not going to be able to get baby showers or anything like that, so it's going to be crazy. Let's continue on to a brand new topic, though. This tweet got a huge amount of attention at 20.8 million views. Do men even actually yearn? I would imagine that a lot of people legitimately question this idea, just because a lot of women nowadays are, I don't know if it was like this back in the old days, but especially like in the last decade, women just do not understand men, and they don't necessarily care to, and they actually do believe this type of thing. But again, it's only like a little chunk of the population, I would imagine, but it's enough people where it's actually concerning that people actually do believe this. Like, yes, we are people, okay? Believe it or not, but men actually have access to the full spectrum of emotions. The only issue is we don't have to show it, or we have been, again, we've been kind of conditioned to not show it, but a conversation on whether or not that's right is for another time. All human beings do, and to limit yourself to believing genders determines the ability to yearn speaks volumes about your worldview. Ooh. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. That was very well said, to be honest with you. Probably more than women. We walk through life feeling something is missing, and most of us never find out exactly what that is. I would argue that we feel things like, when you want to talk about something like yearning, yeah, I would argue that we feel that more than women do, and there definitely are other emotions that men feel way more than women on like a spectrum that they will never be able to understand. Like definitely anger, definitely horniness. Like there, and I maybe we could take a deep dive into that one day. I'd be really interested to have that conversation with everybody in the comments. But it's true, we are people. We understand and we do feel emotions. We don't always just show it. Yes, absolutely. I literally want nothing but a wife and kids. I'm not afraid to admit that a massive part of my depression stems from being a single for so long and feel like I'm watching those hopes and dreams fade away with every year that passes as I get older. I also hope for the best for this guy, as the comment ended up, or excuse me, as the reply ended up showing. But the most important thing is to never give up, because there are amazing, amazing girls out there. Yeah. The problem is that depression is going to kind of set you back, and women can smell something like that, and perhaps that's why he's in the state that he's in right now. All right, I just opened up the next topic that we have over here. Always a classic. Before Netflix and chill, there was... All right. I don't understand, like, somebody came up with that meme. Sorry for the jump cut there. I just decided that I'm going to blur that, but you can understand exactly where that meme was going, okay? Ain't done that in years. The Netflix took over. So true. It's crazy how times actually end up changing, right? And oh, look who's finally waking up after her dream a little bit. Oh, never mind. I thought she just rolled around. Oh, the eyes are open. Hey, city girl. Who's a pretty baby? Who's a pretty girl? Her eyes just open. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but... very, very cute. She always sleeps behind me while I'm recording, dude. Not sure if it's just a meme or people actually do all this stuff, LMAO, in the public with kids in cinemas. Yeah, people do it. I remember how popular it used to be back in like late grade school, early on high school. But of course, it is completely horrible to do unless you're basically alone in the movie theaters. And by basically alone, I mean somebody down to the front row and you're back at the top row. And even then, like, it's still very indecent, but it's understandable that people would end up doing that. Let's continue on to the next topic. Hundreds of subreddits are considering banning all links to X and Twitter. Now, I know that this is getting worse. I don't know if this is going to be a thing that the entirety of Reddit ends up doing, but guys, I just think that's crazy. There's a lot of great content found on both platforms, and to share them and share people's ideas, I think that's an incredible thing. I know why they're doing it. I don't agree with it. I think that different ideas from different platforms are pretty cool to see, but let's continue on. Please do it. Please, please. Elon will try to buy Reddit, and it'll be so embarrassing to watch. That'd be kind of funny. Reddit, of all people. Could you imagine if Elon ended up buying that? Dude, that'd be so funny. That would be the meltdown that would take place. Most Twitter links I post on Reddit are sources for independent artists' art. Like, that would really hit them hard. Not a great idea. Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the good things about sharing and having cross posts between platforms. Like, I think it's a horrible thing to just completely shut that down. I don't know why you wouldn't want that, but there's nothing you can do about it, man. And could you imagine, though, if Elon ended up actually buying that? What a surprise. Reddit mods signing up to be the thought police. Shocking. Yeah. So real, so true. There's been a lot of great things we've taken a look at today, but the conversation does not have to end there. If you want to hear more things that have been trending recently, why don't you check out this other video that we did recently? I would love to have you over there, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.